Okay, we're back for second part of the video where we're going to make a recessed box for the electric fireplace that we're going to put under the TV. If you watched the first video, you heard me say more than once that I had no idea how I was going to construct this place to put the fireplace. So you are either just here because you're super curious or because you have a lot of confidence in me. Either way, thank you. My kids aren't here to help me get the TV totally off the wall, so I just pulled it out. I'm gonna go behind the TV and I'm gonna use my level to make lines where the studs are behind the drywall. I'm gonna build a sort of a box with 2x6 wood that's going to go about as high as the under part of the TV mounting bracket. In order to construct this, I'm using my drill and my driver, and I am using the other end is pushed against the wall to give me support. Here's my electric fireplace that came today. This is a 60-inch Touchstone Elite. Then I built the frame for the fireplace according to the specs in the fireplace instructions. And right here, I'm just playing around with where I want that fireplace to sit for depth and height. Once I figure that out, then I'm going to put that frame inside of that frame to put it underneath behind the TV. I ended up having to take the top piece of the 2x6 frame off in order to get it between the two bookshelves. And here I'm attaching the sides of the 2x6 frame to the sides of the bookshelf. And once that's attached, I will put the top of the frame back on and screw it from the top. Okay, so the 2x6 frame is in place and secure. My TV bracket comes out from the wall. So the TV is going to be sitting flush against this new built-in unit. And then we're going to be making a similar frame unit to put on the top half to finish off the entire unit. First, we're going to install the framing for the fireplace. So here's my fireplace frame. I put a lot of thought into where exactly I wanted it to sit, and I built it separately, and I'm going to be attaching it to the 6x6 frame. And then I'm going to attach it and make some more supports for it in the empty spaces here. Everything is framed out. So we had the main frame around the edge, which is 6x6. Then I constructed the insert for the fireplace according to the specs in the fireplace instructions. Attached supports at the bottom and attached those to a 2x4, which is then attached to the 2x6 frame. Once that was in place, I supported the entire thing on either side. Those two little blocks down there are just mistakes. I cut those pieces. When I had to remove the top of the 2x6 frame, I had to move it up to get it in there. So that made these pieces too short. So I just compromised with a little wedge. Supported the two sides. I did attach right here, put screws right there to make sure that the fireplace insert opening is nice and sturdy. And I put two more supports here. And then I'm going to be building a framed out top section, and everything will be covered in plain white I have a MDF cover for the front of this section, and I may just use drywall for the top. And again, because it's away from the wall, there's plenty of space behind the TV to run the cords over to the side of my built-in through that hole to run the electric and the cables. And I can also get to that outlet there for the TV and the fireplace if I want to. So I thought I'd better check to make sure that the fireplace fits into the frame, and it's a tiny bit tight. It fits perfectly this way, but it's a little bit snug this way, like a fraction. So what I did was I removed the two supports that were here, and I unscrewed the top of the frame, and I'm going to put little 1/4-inch wedges underneath the frame, this top frame piece, just to bring it up 1/4 inch. I cut these down by 1/4 inch, and I'll reinstall them right here. And then we should have a fit. That did the trick. Now I'll reinstall my supports. And here's the panel that's going to go on front. Again, that's 1/2-inch MDF. In order to cut that middle, I simply laid the whole frame down before I installed it on top of the MDF, and I traced the opening, and then I cut it with my jigsaw. Okay, fireplace is in. First I put the white face on. I did have to trim it down a little bit. It's nailed to the 2x4s and the 2x6s. Just use my brad nailer. And then I lifted the fireplace in. It's plugged in up here, and it looks great. This is a Touchstone Elite. I'll put the link below. This is a 60-inch. My TV is a 75-inch. That's really big for a TV. I know, I like it. I think what's really cool about this is really you could redo this, and this could be a mantle. You know, the TV could be up and get a smaller TV. That's not how I'm doing it, but I noticed that option's there. I think that's kind of cool. So here's the fireplace. Definitely looks electric, but I really like it. It comes with all different, there's a whole cycle of different colors and patterns. So fun to play with. Check it out, Touchstone Elite. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build the framing for the top of the wall. Okay, so I have the first part of these frames done. I built out of 2x6s, 2 frames to put on top of the 2x6 frame that's on the bottom. I'm going to screw it down and screw it to the sides of the cabinet. I made it so that it goes along with the tiered look that I have going on with the shelving unit. And once I get both of them up there and screwed in, then I'll work on building the middle support. With these shelves installed, they are super solid. I mean, I could hang from these. So I really don't need much up here. I just need something to attach the drywall to. So I'm not going to do much. So at this point, I installed drywall. I also ended up lifting the TV frame just a tad and building this box frame with trim around it for the TV. So I can pull that out, and I can actually reach back there for fishing wires pretty well. At this point, the only thing left to do was to finish off the edges, caulk and paint. Then it's going to be time for crown molding. Crown molding. So this is the first time I've done crown molding. I bought the Kreg Crown-Pro to help me with cutting the crown molding, and I love it. Highly recommend. That being said, I still think it's a little tricky to install crown molding. All right, I started going into a totally useless rant right here about outside corners versus inside corners. Here's the deal. If you've never done crown molding before and you want to do it, get a jig. I love the Kreg Crown-Pro. I'll link it below. Or get somebody that knows what they're doing to install it. But really all it takes is a jig and a little practice. If I can do it, you can do it. In any event, I have the crown molding on this unit done. And because there's no ceiling to it to help you attach the molding, I had to install brackets at the top of the cabinet that have the same spring angle as the crown molding is sitting off of the cabinet. This crown molding has a spring angle of 38 degrees. It's usually listed on the tag at the store where you can measure it. And a little tool for measuring comes with the Kreg Crown-Pro to measure the angles. So I got this cabinet done. Now I have to do the crown molding on this next higher cabinet. First I'm going to need to install a false side, because you can, on here where my crown molding is going to wrap around. And you can see up here I have that angled piece that matches the spring angle attached already here. And here's the completed crown molding. And the final step was the base trim. For the base trim, I installed, I think it's 3-inch base molding, which wasn't quite tall enough to hide the framing underneath of the cabinets. So I had to put a 1-inch spacer underneath, attach it, and then I put that piece of shoe molding on top to hide the space. And I think that looks really nice. And here's the completed project. I absolutely love it. Big difference. Please be kind in your comments below and let me know if you build something similar. Tada, are you happy this is over? Hell yeah!